So how do you then go to setting up Freeserve or coming up with the idea for Freeserve? Where did that come from?
Well, so I bought myself an IBM computer because I didn't have a PC at the time. I bought an IBM computer, and I'd heard about this thing called the internet, and I thought I want to get on the internet, and I bought myself a modem. And then I asked the staff in my own shop, how do you get onto the internet? And people said, don't know. It was quite frustrating. Nobody could tell me how to get onto the internet. And then eventually I found someone in our technical center and I said, listen, mate, I want to go on the internet. What do I do? And he said, I've heard of this company called Demon Internet, and they're quite good. I thought, right, okay. So I phoned up Demon Internet and I said to the guy there, I want to go on the internet. What do I need? And he said, you need a browser. I said, right, okay. How do I get a browser? He said, you can FTP from our site. And I thought, what the bloody hell's an FTP? And I now know it stands for File Transfer Protocol, which means you can download the browser. But what it means is you have to be on the internet to be able to download it. And I wasn't on the internet, and I had no idea what FTP stood for. So I eventually managed to get a CD from a magazine cover for a company called CompuServe, which were the second biggest internet company, second biggest ISP in the world, actually. It was an American company, the largest being AOL, which stands for America Online. And when I got onto CompuServe, when I got home, I thought, wow, this is the future. In the future, everyone is going to want to get on the internet. And I started thinking about my experience. And I thought, well, if we can't tell people how to get on the internet, then every single day, thousands and thousands of people must be asking us up and down the country in Dixon's, in Curry's, in PC World, and we say we don't know. And I thought if we become the ISP, we'll be able to do something that nobody else can do. We can get to the customer first. We don't have to spend money on acquiring the customer. We don't have to spend any money on putting CDs on magazine covers. We can just pile up our CDs and people can just come into the store and just pick one up. And every time we sell a computer, we can say to the customer, listen, you need internet access, here you go. And I thought we can get the CDs and we can have the browser on there. You don't need to FTP it, you put the CD in there and it will install the browser for you. And I thought, wow, it's simple. And for those of you who, I bet you remember this is the CD.
Yeah, no, I remember the yellow, particularly on the front of a magazine that I would usually pick up PC magazines when I was about 15.
Well, so we didn't put them on magazine covers. We actually piled them in the stores. And because we had 1,000 shops up and down the country, it meant we didn't have to pay anybody. And that's really the secret. And I thought to myself, we don't have to spend any money on inquiring customers. They're already in our shops. And that's the difference between us and everyone else. We don't have to spend any money on acquiring customers. And I thought that's really the biggest reason why Freeserve was so successful, because we acquired the customers very, very easily and without spending any money. And I thought most days Dixon's advertised in the newspapers, Dixon's, Curry's, PC World. They're in the newspapers already. And if we put a small little box in every advert, we'll be able to, again, communicate with the customers and we don't have to spend any money, acquiring the customer. So we'll be in the national press for free. So I went to see the managing director of PC World, and I told him about my idea. I said, listen, we can get to the customer first. And at the moment, someone else is making money from our customers. We're selling the computers, and then we're letting someone else make the money from our customers because they're going to the different ISPs that exist out there. And if we become the ISP, we'll be able to get to the customer first. And I also said to him, we can also have a portal. We can make sure in the browser, the home address is our portal, and then people will be able to do a search on there. They'll be able to buy things from the shopping channels. So we'll also make money from the portal as well. So, and I told him about my idea, and you can imagine what he said. No. He said, let's just focus on opening more PC worlds. Let's just do that. And probably the reason is because he didn't get it. He probably didn't use the internet himself because nobody was on the internet and he didn't understand what we were doing.
So he just completely flat out was like, it's not for me. And I suppose,
yeah,
if he doesn't, like you said, if he doesn't use the internet, he doesn't see the potential, then the potential is all in opening more PC world shops, because everyone at the moment is trying to come in and buy computers.
Absolutely. And since then, when I give talks, I call this garlic bread syndrome. And garlic bread syndrome is based on Peter Kay's famous garlic bread joke, which is, boss, I've seen the future. It's garlic bread. Everyone's going to eat it. And his boss said, let's get this right. Are you saying that people are going to eat bread with garlic on it? Garlic bread? No, I don't think so. I'm not having that. But now if you think about it, we're all eating garlic bread. And you can imagine 50, 60 years ago, someone actually saying to their boss, listen, boss, we should be selling garlic bread. And he didn't get it. He probably turned him down. And that's the same. Sometimes obvious ideas are obvious now. And so I almost gave up. But the reason I carried on was because I read this magazine called Vanity Fair, which is an American magazine. And they managed to get a group of people together and they called them the New Establishment. And they were the people that controlled media and content. And they managed to get people like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and people like that. And there was a guy talking about Ted Turner. And Ted Turner was the guy who started the first 24-hour news channel, CNN. And this guy said, what people like Ted are required to do is do the obvious before it becomes obvious to everyone else. Because by the time it becomes obvious to everyone else, it's too late because people like Ted have done it and the other guys haven't. I mean, what possible reason did Ted have for starting a 24-hour news channel? It just blows your mind. And if you think about it, we now know it's not about watching news 24 hours a day. It's about watching news when you want to watch it. And we turn to 24-hour news channel if something happens in the world. And I thought to myself, just because this guy said no, it doesn't mean to say it's a bad idea. It just means that he didn't get it. And I need to persevere with it.
So you did you have to go to someone else? Because obviously this is like you said, the managing director of PC World. And I guess they were part of the bigger group, which was Dixon's.
Yeah, they were part of a bigger group. It was actually called Dixon Stores Group. And Dixon Stores Group was all the companies, Dixon's, Currys, PC World. So I managed, after a lot of persuasion, to get through to the group CEO of Dixon's. And I went to the boardroom to see him with a couple of other people that were sat there, as well as his business development department. And I told him about my idea, and he said, you know what, I've got no idea if this is going to work, but we have to give it a go, so let's do it. So at 11 a.m. on the 22nd of September, Dixon's launched Freeserve in the Financial Times building in London. And you could tell straight away, the journalists in the room, they thought it was fantastic. And the news, BBC News, went to see AOL and asked them, what do you think about this small little company that's just opened, Freeserve? And the guy said, you know what, it's not going to work. It's not what people want. People want things like AOL. And within 3 months, he was gone. And we were the largest ISP in the country.